A yellow jumbo shopping bag hidden inside a refrigerator packed with €500 bills. A military Humvee parked casually in the driveway. And a top executive stating, "For me, €450,000 isn't an insane amount." This isn't fiction. This is the real-life story of Frits van Eerd, the fallen CEO of Jumbo, one of the Netherlands' biggest supermarket chains. Welcome to this in-depth investigation into the unraveling of Frits van Eerd's empire. From a respected entrepreneur and racing enthusiast to the main suspect in a massive money laundering scandal. What really happened behind the scenes of this seemingly perfect business life? Welcome to Dutch Crime Files. The rise of a retail king. Frits van Eerd was born in 1967 in Veghel. In 1992, he joined the family-owned business Jumbo Supermarket, and under his leadership, the supermarket chain grew rapidly. Through strategic acquisitions like Super de Boer and C1000, Jumbo became the second-largest supermarket group in the Netherlands. But Frits was not just a businessman. He was obsessed with motorsports and went on to establish Racing Team Netherlands, where he raced in prestigious events like Le Mans. The first cracks appear. In September 2022, the FIOD, the Dutch Fiscal Intelligence and Investigation Service, raided Van Eerd's luxurious home in Heeswijk-Dinter. What they discovered was shocking: €448,000 in cash, hidden in a refrigerator and a wooden chest. Also seized were a military Humvee, luxury cars, and financial documents. What made the raid even more remarkable was how deliberately targeted it seemed. FIOD agents focused not only on financial files, but also on trophies, helmets, and race team memorabilia. Objects now believed to be part of a laundering web. Investigators found traces of shredded paperwork in an outdoor fire pit. A neighbor reportedly witnessed smoke the night before the raid, a detail now under investigation. It wasn't a standalone raid. The investigation was tied to an extensive network involving car dealerships and motocross sponsorships, with one key figure being former motocross rider and car dealer Theo E. The suspicions. The public prosecutor's office suspects Van Eerd of corruption, falsifying documents, and habitual money laundering. Investigators claim he funneled illicit funds through fabricated sponsorship contracts in the motorsport world. 5 contracts, to be precise, are said to have been completely fictional, used as a front to channel dirty money for personal expenses. According to leaked files, some of the payments were used to finance luxury vehicles, real estate upgrades, and even expensive artworks. A detailed NRC article from late 2024 said, "Racing Team Nederland was described by authorities as an ideal laundering vehicle, offering visibility, movement, and cash-intensive sponsorships." At least 3 of the listed sponsors denied ever signing the contracts associated with their names. One claimed they had never even heard of the team. Some sponsorship money was allegedly routed through temporary accounts in the Middle East, linked to off-season race events that never actually took place. One race event on the books supposedly occurred in Qatar, but records show the racetrack was closed for maintenance at the time. The defense strategy. Van Eerd denies all allegations. His legal team argues that the seized money came from legitimate sources: private loans, motorbike sales, and informal repayments from friends. To support his claims, he's called 7 witnesses, including a company employee, a brother-in-law, and a childhood friend. The prosecution, however, points out the close personal relationships and suggests the testimonies may lack objectivity. Internal memos from Jumbo also indicate unease within the company long before the investigation became public. Van Eerd's legal team recently released a statement suggesting that the timing of the raid was intended to inflict maximum public damage, noting it took place just days before a major Jumbo strategy summit. They argue the investigation was fueled by political motives and media pressure. and they have accused the prosecution of leaking sensitive details to the press to bias public opinion. Business fallout. Following his arrest, Van Eerd stepped down as CEO. While he still owns shares in the company, the likelihood of him returning to a leadership role is virtually zero. Jumbo quickly distanced itself from the scandal, emphasizing that the allegations pertain solely to Van Eerd's personal dealings. Behind the scenes, insiders say there was already friction between Van Eerd's flashy lifestyle and the more conservative business culture at Jumbo. The scandal has deeply affected Jumbo's brand, especially in the wake of public scrutiny and media coverage. The media fallout was swift. Hashtags like #JumboGate and #RacingForCash trended nationally for days. Supermarket competitors reportedly saw a short-term rise in customer traffic as loyal shoppers paused their trust in Jumbo. Several regional Jumbo store owners issued joint statements distancing themselves from the scandal, emphasizing their independent franchise status. Private life under pressure. Since the raid, Van Eerd's private life has drastically changed. Once a visible figure in both business and motorsport, he's now avoiding media appearances and public events. According to sources close to him, he spends most of his time at home, focusing on his family and legal defense. Yet, he remains active in the racing world. He even participated in the Dakar Rally in Saudi Arabia in January 2025. Friends describe him as defiant but tired, clinging to a public image that's rapidly fading. Despite the ongoing investigation, Van Eerd was spotted attending a private racing event in Zandvoort, wearing low-profile gear and avoiding cameras. A friend of the family, speaking anonymously, said, "He still believes he did nothing wrong. He sees himself as misunderstood, not guilty." The ongoing trial. The case is still ongoing. The official trial began in September 2024 at the court in Assen. Currently, it's in the pre-trial phase, where both sides are debating the scope of the investigation and which evidence will be allowed. The timeline for the full hearings remains unclear, but what's certain is that this case will be one of the most closely watched financial crime trials in recent Dutch history. Van Eerd was not present at the initial session, but his lawyers stated that he looks forward to clearing his name in court. The Frits van Eerd case is a dramatic tale of success, ambition, and potential downfall. From supermarket tycoon to criminal suspect, his story is still unfolding. Is he a victim of circumstance or the mastermind of a carefully hidden network of fraud? Only time and the court will tell. One thing is clear. In the Netherlands, even the biggest names aren't untouchable. This was Dutch Crime Files. If you thought this case was surprising, wait until you hear what's next. Don't forget to subscribe for more stories that peel back the polished surface and reveal the truth underneath.